Peoples of the world, welcome back. Capital G bringing you Deck Tech for Zimone and Dina. Hot off the presses, coming out with March of the Machines. Super excited to talk about this deck and this particular set. So, it's going to be a fun little afternoon that we're going to have here. Before we get into that, of course, be sure to like and subscribe if you enjoy what we're doing here on the channel. And also come hang out on Discord and maybe check out some of my TikToks as well. All those links will be in the description below. And on that, let us have a closer look at Zimone and Dina. One of the things that March of the Machines features heavily is the idea of legendary creatures that are unlikely to team up, step up, and team up in the defense if they're playing against the Phyrexians. Zimone and Dina is one such example, and there's like 20 of them, at least. There's tons of these mashups, but I went with Zimone and Dina. Blue, green, black for 3/4 Human Dryad. Whenever you draw your second card each turn, target opponent loses 2 life and you gain 2 life. Okay, so we want to draw cards, we want to pressure our opponent's life totals. The fact that this only hits one opponent at a time means that we can't really rely on this alone to bring our opponents down, so we'll have to supplement that. Tap, sacrifice another creature, draw a card. You may put a land from your hand onto the battlefield tapped. If you control 8 or more lands, repeat this process once. Okay, drawing cards, causing your opponents to lose life, sacking creatures, and ramping. This deck does a lot of things. It wants to do a lot of things, and we're going to do a little bit of everything here. Let's start by highlighting their original cards. They were both originally printed as individual legends. Let's start with Zimone. Quandrix Prodigy. Yeah, as you can see, her thing was putting lands onto the battlefield tapped and then paying you off once you've had 8 or more lands on the battlefield. Dina, who's actually getting a reprint in the Mystical Archives frame in March of the Machines, says whenever you gain life, each opponent loses 1 life. So this definitely helps supplement the offense for us. Not too worried about the activated ability, it's that trigger that we're running her for here. So I want to highlight their individual cards. They're both in here because they both help the plan. 2 other cards that help the plan is the Blood Bond combo. So we are running Exquisite Blood, so whenever an opponent loses life, we gain that much life. And we're running the Sanguine Bond, so whenever we gain life, target opponent loses that much life. So once we got both of these cards onto the battlefield, 1 activation of our commander and it's lights out. That is the main game plan here. Obviously we've got lots of other cards to supplement their strategies. So we're going to dive into that. So we're going to be running things like the Archavios Archive, which helps us get that second card draw on our turn without having to use up an activation. We're going to see this theme a lot. We're going to try and find ways to draw 2 cards, either on our turn or our opponent's turns, without using our commander's activation. I mean, obviously there'll be times that we'll want to. And of course we got to fuel that activation if we want to use it, so things like Chitter Spitter is fantastic for that. Just 1 green spit out a token we can sacrifice. Red and Greaves here, we want to protect our commander. And the boots as well. Our commander is the keystone in the deck. A couple of battles, of course. I do love the new battles, and if you haven't seen my video where I've looked at all 36 of them, but I think all the battles are well, not all of the battles are fantastic, but there's a lot of good ones. It'll be interesting to see how this actually plays out in real life. Just went with 2 of them here. The Invasion of Segovia, which gives us some fodder to sacrifice. This, by the way, flips into Cadus, which is a very, very powerful creature, actually. So this is actually worth flipping over if we get that opportunity. The other battle I'm running is the Invasion of Zendikar to get to the 8 lands a little bit faster. Also in the meantime, giving us the option of flipping this into the Awakened Skyclave, which is a nice chunky mana. Well, it's a 4/4. It taps for mana and it has Vigilance. Fantastic stuff. Pressures the opponent's life total, keeps their defenses up. 30 creatures in the deck. Trying to find other ways to get paid off for drawing cards. So Alandra coming out of the Jumpstart set. Just gives us some flying drakes. We like that idea. Will we ever draw 5 cards in a turn? It is possible. So we could get to that point and just go nuts if this sticks around long enough, because I don't know how many drakes we'll be able to generate, but we could easily generate 1 per player at the table. One of my favorite new cards, the Archpriest of Shadows. We're sacrificing creatures, so this is a great way to bring them back. Bellatrix, of course, giving us a pest every turn, right on theme. We can sacrifice those pests for our commander. Coiling Oracle, very much on theme of Zimone. This is my 103rd deck. This is the first time it's probably the first time I'm saying run Consecrated Sphinx, because it actually synergizes with what the deck is doing. Whenever an opponent draws 2 cards, we draw 2 cards. And we get to drain our opponent for life. So yes, it's one of the rare occasions where the card synergizes with the commander. And that's why I suggest it this time. That Creekwood Legion, another way to spit out some tokens for us. Also, the double Anthem on our commander is pretty sweet. Drag Recycler, another way to sacrifice things in order to pressure our opponent's life totals. Etched Familiar, if this dies, each opponent loses 2 life and we gain 2 life. So nice, again, a little bit more pressure. And does that look familiar? Does that look like a filigree familiar to you by any chance? Faceless Butcher, this is a classic play. This one's a little old school where when it enters the battlefield, exile another creature. When it leaves, return the exile card to the battlefield under its owner's control. Separate triggers, which means if you put this into play and you sacrifice it before you resolve that first trigger, well, whatever you exile is exiled. That's it. So, going a little old school with this pick. Of course, Farhaven Elf for the ramp. Gary, because Gary wins games. A lot of people are talking about running this in Pauper Commander as a commander, and I can't blame them. This is pretty sweet. 3 mana for a 3/1 flyer, pretty decent already, especially in the Pauper format. But I like the ETB where when you pay X, you also get to recast an instant or sorcery card from any graveyard. It doesn't have to be your graveyard, it could be any graveyard. So it's pretty sweet. Kinzu. This one was from the Phyrexia All Will Be One Jumpstart. And I think she's a fun little card. Coma. We didn't get to see our completed Coma in this set. Maybe we'll get to see it in Aftermath. I don't know. But we did not get a card for our completed Coma in this set, and that makes me sad. Still, again, great synergies here. Spitting out some 3/3s to pressure our opponents. We can always sacrifice them, not just to protect Coma, but also to fuel our commander. This is a card I've chosen Violence. If you're running Mind Slicer in a Zimone and Dina deck, you are choosing Violence very actively. The idea, of course, here is that we sacrifice the Mind Slicer. It triggers, but with the activation on the stack, the trigger resolves first, so everyone pitches down to 0, and then we draw our 1 or 2 cards from our commander. So we're already ahead of everybody else when we do this. The Murkfiend Liege. Untap everything. Also double Anthem, especially on our commander, pretty sweet. Poison Tip Archer, a little bit of Aristocrat synergy to help out our commander. Psychosis Crawler. Paying off all the card draw by attacking all of our opponent's life totals just for us drawing cards. Classic Rex Sage blows up something and adds a sock fatter, so on and so forth. Rona, another thing I've been loving are these sort of transform creatures. I think some of them are deliberately underpowered, but that's not true of Rona. What I like about Rona is that she can give us our second card draw on our turn by just tapping. Yes, we discard a card, that's fine. That transform ability, being able to turn into a Tellurian Obliterator. So, I don't know, this is just a fantastic little legend, very aggressively costed, so I think this is actually going to be pretty popular in Standard. But I definitely like her for our format as well. Amazing stuff. That is not in the deck, but Steve is. Scared Tribe Elder. And we'll keep it going. Sad Robot ramps us out, gives us some extra card draw. Urborg Elf. Just a fantastic little mana dork in our colors. Urborg Siphon Mage. Freshly reprinted in Dominaria Remastered. Pay 3, pitch a card. Each opponent loses 2 life. We're going to have cards to spare, I think, so we can definitely do this. Valentin. We got 2 options with Valentin I like. This is first off on flavor because also of Strixhaven. But we've got an amazing way to control the graveyard on the front side. And also a little more business end on the back side. Whenever we gain life, pay 1 to put a 1/1 counter on each creature we control and give them trample. Wait, our commander gains us life. So yeah, whichever side you cast this card on is going to put in tons of work. Continuing with Vindictive Vampire, another Aristocrat card. Veto. Again, whenever we gain life, target opponent loses that much life, accelerating our commander's game plan. Ron also accelerates our game plan by being a once per turn Aristocrat. But I've finally managed to get him on the table in a game, and once per turn is more than enough, let me tell you. Eudora Gravegardener. Things are dying. Let them come back as forests. Why not? And of course, the Zulaport Cutthroat to round out our creature package. Other enchantments we would like to run. The Black Market Connections. This is absolutely fantastic here. It's a great card. We gain life from our commanders, so doing full set and paying the 6 life every turn, we could in concept as long as our life total can keep up. If it can't, well, we don't have to. We can just pick and choose whatever we want. But this gives us a token we can sacrifice. It draws us that second card, and it gives us some ramp. So amazing stuff. Great synergies here. Instill Energy. This is a great little aura we can toss onto our commander. We can activate our commander on our turn, untap it, and it's ready to go for someone else's turn. Squirrel Nest, just to be able to spit out some squirrels. I am not running the Earthcraft combo here. Just running the Squirrel Nest straight up because it fuels our commander. Sylvan Library. Here's an interesting thing. So with our commander on the battlefield, it lets us draw 2 additional cards. It doesn't matter if we put the cards back or not. It is still enough to trigger our commander's life drain. So we can afford to pay the 4 life per card if we wanted to keep the extra cards, but if we wanted to put them back, well, we got the trigger anyways. Doesn't matter. Tefari's Ageless Insight. Again, if we're drawing cards other than the first one in each of our draw steps, draw 2 cards instead. So this is a nice way to really ramp up the card draw in our favor. Wizard Class, another way to pay off the card draw. Yes, we're going to run this up to level 3 as quickly as we can, and once we do, well, we're just going to make whatever creatures we have humongous. Zendikar's Royal, spitting out lands. Let's spit out some elementals too. Next up, some instants and sorceries. Half a dozen instants with Behold the Multiverse being a cheap way to draw some cards out of turn. Crushing Disappointment. A little more expensive, but it lets us draw 2 cards out of turn. And we get to trigger our commander too. Frantic Search, same deal. Lazatep Plating for a little bit of defense. Gives us a token we can sacrifice, and it gives us hexproof. And some non-creature removal of Terra Sunder. Oh, this can get creatures actually when you kick it. So it exiles an artifact or enchantment for 2. Can get anything we want to remove, including other battles, if we kick it. Wilt rounds it out, destroy target artifact or enchantment. It also cycles. So the reason we want to cycle this is to get that second card drawn in a turn. Sorceries, Atrax's Fall. A little bit slower, but artifact, battle, enchantment, or creature with flying for 2 mana is a pretty good rate, even at sorcery speed. Farseek, of course, to ramp us out. Life and Death. We're going to have a ton of lands, so it could very well be possible that we cast Life and swing out for like 15 with our lands. Or we can cast Death and return a creature card from our graveyard to the battlefield. Nature's Lore. Rampant Growth. Rise of the Dark Realms, a great finisher in this deck, because we're sacrificing creatures. We're probably going to discard to hand size at some point. So, being able to rise and get all of our creatures back, fantastic stuff. 3 visits, and Time of Need lets us go get some of our other legendary creatures. Mana base, 36 lands. We're running the Shock lands, the Command Tower. We're running the Dominaria tap lands, 11 forests. We're running the Kaldheim Snow Jewels as well. 6 islands, a Kaleni Garden to give us that plant that we can sacrifice. 7 swamps. And that pretty much covers it. Oh, the Zagoth Triumph as well. So we have tons and tons of options for our like Farseeks and Nature's Lore. Lots of targets we can hit at every stage of the game. That is Zimone and Dina. Again, I am super excited for this set. Just all of the legendary creatures are really, really good. The new battle mechanic looks to be really, really interesting, and the plane chase decks. I don't think I'm gonna get the plane chase decks just because of limited budget. I'm just gonna kind of focus on main set stuff. But again, no, everything is looking fantastic. This set is massive. So if you can get it all, you can get it all. But if you could only get a little bit, that's fine too. If you're just kind of getting started with the format, this is a great place to find your favorite commander. Honestly, between the new ones and the reprinted ones that are in this set, there's just so many. So if you're just getting started, this is a good place to find your favorite commander, shall we say. But that's just my opinion. What's your opinion of the set? What's your opinion of the list? What's your favorite team up? Comment below. I want to hear about it, and we will catch you all again next time. Bye for now.